Stitch Roadies. Thank you for stopping by. If you're new to this channel, know that this is probably a channel mostly about what's bouncing around in my brain and a bit of cross stitch. I hope you will hang around for a while and give us a chance. The community here on Stitch Roadies is absolutely it warms my heart. A few videos ago, I was doing a giveaway on a chart called Thank You, and I asked people to use the word thank, and but not to thank me, but to just say a thank you to whoever. And it absolutely was just the heartwarming. I enjoyed every single comment because you all embraced that moment to thank childhood friends, to thank someone on the street, to thank your church, to thank, it created a bubble of gratefulness that I so needed that day. So thank all of you. If you would like, please hit the subscribe button. You can also hit that little bell next to it, and then it'll let you know when I have a video up. Is it called a video? Yes. Some people call it a podcast. I think of podcasts as you don't really see the person, you're just listening to them. But anyway, whatever we are here, thank you for stopping by. Today is a mixed bag of weather. The last 2 days where we had sunny weather, which was nice. It was really nice. It's still a little bit nippy, but it was really nice. And G went out and did some hiking to rejuvenate himself because our lives currently are in somewhat of a chaotic state. We had a trifecta occurring here at the house in terms of that we had 2 bathrooms under construction or reconstruction, and because we had a leak in one of them and the other one was just ugly. So we thought, well, we're just gonna, when you actually get someone to show up, you can't dawdle these days. You can't dawdle. And this construction company is like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. They have been in and out of our family, extended family lives for so long that it was like having family do the work, but they knew what they were doing. and then the painters were repainting our kitchen cabinets, and that when I first heard the price tag on that, I was like, ooh, that seems a little bit steep. But when I saw what was involved, I was flabbergasted and knew that G and I never could have done this, because they literally turned my kitchen into a paint box. They hung plastic on the ceiling, down all the walls. I didn't have to even empty, I had to empty all the drawers, but I did not have to empty the cabinets because they literally lined the inside of the cabinet with paper so nothing could get in there. And so we had no access to our kitchen or our family room. I'm hoping that my goldfish, or rather my grandson's goldfish, are doing okay, because I made the mistake of putting them in the family room and not realizing I couldn't get to them for 3 or 4 days. And my grandson named them Mom and Bob. So I hope Mom and Bob are doing okay on the other side of the plastic. But they refinished like all the cabinetry. They've primed it, and they have put the first coat of paint, which we chose a shade of green, and that was G who chose a shade of green. You know, it's interesting. He was a black and white photographer, art photographer at one point. I mean, he actually had photographs on display at the Carmel Art Museum, and he's had his photographs hung in public places. But that was back in the day. He doesn't do that anymore. But it's interesting. He was a black and white photographer, but his and I'm a quilter, but his sense of color is like, I mean, I really pay attention because he tends to have get it spot on. And even the painter and the contractor who's working on the bathroom, they all went, "Wow, that's a great great choice." I would have never chosen that. I would have gone with the safe route. Was when they painted the primer on there and it was white, I thought, oh, that's really pretty, a white cabinets. Too boring. Too boring, I guess. But yeah, so we're going to have green kitchen cabinets. Yeah. I know I'm babbling because I feel like I'm on a timeline before everyone shows up at the house. So that's going on, which also means that G has been cooking in the garage. He has his workshop out in the garage, and he has a little refrigerator out there for his, his carbonated waters and snacks and stuff. And so he packed it a little bit with some food, and he took his electric griddle out there, and so he's been cooking our dinners out in the garage. Yeah, he says it's like camping, and it is. It's like camping. So it's been a little bit of a chaos. The painters are going to be done by this weekend, and hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed. The bathrooms will take a little bit longer, but they are looking really beautiful. And I'm so glad that we have done this, because normally, I mean, I know I'm kind of babbling a little bit. This is a channel about cross-stitch. But normally, G and I have been moved a lot. We did a lot of house flipping, and so we always looked at real estate, and I grew up in real estate, so we always looked at real estate as an investment, and what it can be, what it can bring to you on the flip side when you go to sell it. This is the first real home. Even when we built the home in Sisters, which I never intended to leave, we built it in terms of what it would look like on the resale end. But this home is one that we've kind of embraced. I think it's maybe our age and our desire to never move again. And so we are doing things in this home without any consideration to what value it's bringing. We are doing it for the sheer desire to enjoy this place. And it's a totally different outlook. And interestingly enough, it is the same outlook I have transitioned into my cross-stitch and quilting world. That I no longer am looking at, I'm not going to buy that, I have too many things, I'm never going to get that done, but I am purchasing a chart or a kit because of the sheer joy of possibility. And that possibility is priceless, because possibility allows you to not have an end date. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of a crazy circle in my mind. And so I'm just kind of, now granted, I have a certain genre of stuff I like, and so that's where my choices come in. But if I see something I really like, I am no longer looking at it as, when am I going to get that done? It's the possibility of getting it done. It's the possibility. And in possibility comes the future. And yeah, I I feel so much more at peace. I feel so much more at peace. So what has been going on here? What has been going on here? Well, let me show you. It's going to be a mix. I don't do, if you're new here, just know I don't have any order or structure. It's a free-for-all. But know that I'm here for you, and I'm glad you're here for me. I had a really nice, awesome stitchy day with a couple girlfriends, and one of them, Cheryl, who is one half of Stitching with the Sisterlies. So if you would like to enjoy nothing but a good time, you want to check out that floss tube. But she made both of us a mug rug, a quilted mug rug. Now this isn't one piece of fabric. This is like stripped pieces of fabric, and then there's batting, and then a backing, and then she sewed around it and cut for your drink cup. It was so much fun. And it was just, that's the thing, if you have an opportunity even to get together with one or two or three of your friends, or if you can get to a shop that's having a stitch day, it rejuvenates your soul. It rejuvenates your soul. We can, especially me, I can really hunker down into isolation. The pandemic, some people were depressed. I didn't have to fight that too much. I mean, there's things that I definitely grieved. And I was talking to G about that this last week, that the number one thing I grieve is not any specific place or thing or people, but the number one thing I miss is the freedom not to think too much about whatever I decide to do. If I wanted to get on the Max and ride to downtown, I'd do it. I mean, I was a public transportation person, and now it seems like I tend to think 2 or 3 steps. That isn't quite who I was as a person. I was a person who face into the wind, 100 miles an hour, let's see what's at the other end. And so I guess that's the number one thing that I have missed. And so for me, going to like Acorns or Threads, or I'm looking at figuring out a quilting stitch group at Pioneer Quilts. Just being able to be with other creative people and talk about whatever. We're not even talking about, we're talking about pistachio latte at Starbucks. Oh, I tell you, that's a good one. But that's what I've enjoyed, and that's what I've missed. So I continue to look up for days. I've gotten on the newsletter. If you haven't gotten on the newsletter for Acorns and Threads or any of the other shops that offer workshops, do it. If you can get to a workshop and meet strangers that aren't really strange, or then your life will be richer for that. Your life will be richer. So I met up for a stitchy day with two girlfriends, and in a lot of ways it changed my whole focus. It was kind of interesting. Of course, there were a series of events that have happened in this last month that have changed my outlook a lot. And I'll share those with you. But when I was at Acorns and Threads, it was for Biscornu Day, which is a day that my friend Margaret set up to, and you don't have to stitch Biscornus. It's just called Biscornu Day because we want to pretend well, Margaret knows what she's doing, but I am still a newbie at Biscornus, especially the cross-stitch ones. But when I was there, I had to get me a pair of Kohana scissors. Now, if you haven't seen Kohana scissors, they are Japanese scissors. And in the quilting world, I like Kai scissors, which are also Japanese scissors. The steel, the attention to detail and what you need is so awesome in these products. And these scissors come in this little wooden box, and I'm telling you, when you buy a pair at the shop, Janine does this whole ceremony where she opens the box and opens the silk and presents the scissors to you. If you call the shop and order them online, I guarantee you, before she mails them, she will do the same ceremony. But these scissors are so beautiful, and I'm just going to show you see, they come in the silk wrap, and I am, oh my gosh, every time I see them, they are beautiful. So they come with a leather sheath, a little gold tassel. This is powder coated or whatever with this hard resin, and they come in different colors. The brown is really beautiful. The brown is really beautiful. And some of the colors are like specialty colors in terms of that they only make so many and then they don't do that color again. The blade is just incredible. So my plan is I have a spool that's made by Peter, and I'll put that link below. This is one of his spools here. I've got a pencil in there, but I put scissors in. And I'm cross-stitching a wrap for this out of a red. And then, I swear there's dust everywhere from the construction. It must come through the vent. I'm going to have to dust and clean this entire house when this thing is done. But I thought these red scissors would be beautiful setting in my spool by Peter with my red, and I think the wrap that I'm using, or the cross stitch, yeah, I know the cross stitch that I'm using is Simone Smalls, that book that I got from Acorns and Threads. But then, naturally, because I am my father's daughter, I had to get the whole shebang. And so I ordered from Kohana the sewing box. It's beautiful, and I think, you know, it has a sliding tray, and this lifts out, and it's padded in here. I think what I'm going to do is to cross-stitch some piece to attach like a circle on the top. I might cross stitch my initial or something, and so that I have that. So that was my big haul for the week. I also, because I belong to Linda's Patreon, which is Van Accessible on Patreon, and she does it all. I've said this before. She does it all. You have got to go check her out. You've got to check out her channel. She's inspiring. I have been ordering washi tape for, and I'm not going to unwrap this washi tape, but when I saw my former neighbor, Kelly Ray, had washi tape available, isn't she adorable? So kellyrayroberts.com. I'll put that link below. I ordered some of her washi tape, but I can't unwrap it. Look at how cute it is. It's all wrapped. It's like French soap, you know. I mean, it's just... So I know I'm going to have to unwrap it, but I'm going to reach for something, so I'm going to just be out. Don't look at how I'm dressed. I just want to show you something. Okay, so Linda, oh, I forgot something else. Here. Linda, because I'm part of her Patreon, every so often she sends adorable things to you. And she made this heart. It's like a multimedia paper, and she put a bee on it. I mean, it's absolutely adorable. But know that she is a well of inspiration, and so you don't end up throwing, you become the ultimate recycler. And so I have to just show you this. This is the bottle of a hot sauce. This is the cap on a hot sauce bottle. And I saw it laying, you know, because G does a majority of the cooking. He has turned into his dad. But I loved his dad, so so I saw the top of this hot sauce bottle laying there, and when you are part of Linda's Patreon, you become the ultimate recycler. And I thought, oh, I can make something out of that. So I took the hot sauce bottle, the cap up here, and I was trying to paint it, and I literally, when you have ADHD / whatever, you can't stop yourself from a process. And so, and even though the adult part of your brain is telling you danger, Will Robinson, danger, the other part of you is not listening. And so I was painting the cap of this hot sauce bottle, and I literally dropped it on myself, got paint all over me, because I was trying to hold it with my finger, and and you know, I don't know, some of you that may live with this kind of brain will know that once you're down that path and then the mistakes start happening because you didn't think it through, then you get a trucker mouth. And so then I'm like, blankety, blankety, blank, oh my gosh, you know, blah, blah, blah. And G comes in and it's like, what the heck? And I said, I'm trying to paint this hot sauce bottle top. And he's like, wait a minute. So he goes downstairs and he gets another hot sauce bottle, and he wraps it in saran wrap, the top, and he brings it up to me. So here's a full hot sauce bottle, and he puts the cap I'm trying to paint on top, screws it on loosely, and says, okay, now paint it. You know, someone like me always needs someone like him. There's no two ways about it. I have to go first. It's not going to be pretty if I don't. I totally get that. Not only will I starve to death, but who's going to save me from myself? Holy moly. So I painted the top of the hot sauce bottle that was made out of wood because Linda has inspired me to look at things an entirely different way. And the Zoom meetups that you do with her and the rest of the Patreon people, you're inspired by them. And so here's my outcome. Wait till you see this. It's a mini pincushion. So I painted the wood thing, and I glued the tiny tomato, and I put a bee charm on it. And there's a mini... I'm so proud of myself. I can't even tell you. It's like I'm so tickled. So then I had bought at Acorns and Thread, they had these raw stands. And so I bought, they were like, they were $3. And so I bought that, and at the same time I painted that, and I glued this wool pumpkin that I got on Amazon and put some, pins on it. Isn't that the cutest? Yes, so cute. Yeah. Okay, so hang on. I'm going to go get something else to show you. So just look at the background. Just look at the background. Because those are 2 quilts that I have to make. And I have to finish quilting those. I'm coming. If I was more organized, it would be better. Okay. So I had this, oh shoot. I had this sewing box that I had bought at one of the secondhand stores, or, I don't know. But it was white with, had these funky stickers on it. And I asked G if he would paint it. And so he painted it this nice colonial red. And I've got to do some decorating to it. But it's a sewing box, so, you open it up and it has a drawer. And so we did that. And I got a finish. So I did a finish of the pincushion book. Of course, I don't know where that is now. But I fully finished all my little stitches. Because don't we like tomatoes? And I put real pins on that right here, rather than embroider pins. I tell you, sometimes, look at her. I just love her. Mainly because she has a butt like mine. And the last one. Yeah, it just kind of happened. And I sew everything by sewing machine, and I actually sew the trim on at the same time, and then I flip it inside out, and I fill it with like lizard litter, and then put polyfill so it doesn't go all over. When I'm sewing it, I'm hand sewing it closed. And although I lost one of my hearts, let's see, I Oh, there it is. And then I wanted for display these hearts that were on Michelle Under the Woolen Willow, her Etsy shop. And yeah, I know people say, oh, you could have made that yourself. They're absolutely right, but I don't want to. It's kind of like I probably could have painted the kitchen cabinets, but I didn't want to. Nor could I have done it as good as they did it. I like to support small independent business, and I'm not as patient. So I ordered these, and she posts things on her Instagram feed. So you're going to want to follow her on Instagram to see when, and she's the one that made my Breathe pillow for my word of the year. She does the skinny pillows for your word of the year. And seeing that, you know, when I'm getting paint all over me, I can see that pillow and I breathe. I breathe. Okay, so since this is a channel about cross stitch, yes, cross stitch, my whole plan for this year exploded. I had originally thought I was just going to work through my whips. I had 8 new starts in January. Yes, 8, because that's how we roll here. But it entirely changed because of events that happened. So the short of it is, a couple weeks ago, my older son and his son were missing for a short period of time. A short period of time, and the word missing is a trauma-inducing moment for mothers. And they had gone out camping, and then they didn't come back at the time that was anticipated. So naturally there was about 2 or 3 hours of chaos. Yeah, chaos. You know, police trying to ping the last location. Of course, you have to understand, and I say this, that my son is an adventurer. He comes from a genetic line of adventure people who just put their face to the wind and go for it. And he got that genetic code. So, he's not reported back, and he always does. Now, the positive is he can take care of himself. He works in the medical field. You know, he can take care of his son, all of that. But, you know, for a mother, a wife, that's like all out the window. So for a few short hours, it was sheer chaos. And I called up my bestie, and I'm crying on the phone, and she's like telling me, wait a minute. Wait a frickin' minute. And she has known my son his entire life. And she says, it's, you know, it's him. He always is able to pull it out. He always is going to survive. And so I took faith in that. And then she said something to me that really struck home. And she said, he's living his life with his son, and whatever they're doing, they're not hiding out in the dark. They're actually out there. Because when he goes camping, he doesn't camp at a campground. He's like, off the grid. So naturally, it turned out okay. They were found. A tree had fallen across the road. The the vehicle got stuck. They couldn't get out, and that happened on the day one of the camping trip. So until someone noticed they were missing, they just camped. They just camped and my grandson had a great time, and he has a story that will last him. He'll be telling his children this story. And so I thought about that yeah, I was frightened, but he was living large, and isn't that yeah. And so it changed my cross stitching in an odd way, because I suddenly this year decided there were specific projects that I wanted to get done for my loved ones. And so instead of working on my whips, and I will be working on whips, there's no two ways about it, but my focus will be on the projects that are going to be gifted. And this is going to be the one for him, because it absolutely speaks to him. And this is a Janine McGowan project that I got at Fall Fling last year, and it's called Forest Home. And the sentiment on that is spot on for him. And so I decided I am doing that for him. I also have this is going to be for another family member. So these are going to be my focus. It doesn't mean I'm not going to stitch other things, but these have a deadline, a specific dates this year. And the next one is this one. Which is modern folk embroidery. So those three charts are focus charts for this year. That means they have a deadline date, and I am going to be sure to be picking those up on a regular basis. Now the one I wanted to do, the one I'm working on for myself, is this one. I love the sentiment. This is by Maximum Cross Stitch. There is always room at the table. I loved that. And the game changer, this is why you want to, I know I'm kind of rambling on. I'm spilling out my thoughts here. But when I was stitching with my girlfriends, I asked the two of them, do you stitch, because let me show you this. So I stitched the whole border around, and normally I would then stitch the whole border motif around. But I was asking them, do you stitch by the page? Or do you stitch the whole border and then work your way in a certain direction? And I have never stitched by the page. And they both had different ways of stitching, but Cheryl said she will kind of do it by the page. And Janine tends to go down and across, So I decided to approach this project kind of, and that's how, what's so wonderful about cross stitch is that you don't have to stick to any one rule. You can kind of make your rules up as you go along. As long as it's legal and it's not against the law, then yeah, you can make your own law. So I am working my way on one page, and I could not for the life of me figure out how this specialty stitch was done. It was driving me crazy. And then when I read Ellen's description, it said you can do regular crosses instead of the specialty stitches if you want. And so I did. On the heart, I just did regular crosses instead of the specialty stitches. And I am going to be in a Jeanette Douglas class. I had a brain fart there. Jeanette Douglas class, and she does specialty stitches, and I hope by being there I will actually learn some of those. So this one is the main, because it's not very big. If you look at this, it's not a big chart. So that's it right there. So I'm going to make that the one for me that I'm working on this year. And I will be working on, like I have a couple of stitch-alongs with the Fat Quarter Shop, and I have the trees, which have a 2023. I'm hoping to get it done. So I have those other things there, but I am focusing on those stitches for family. I've kind of thrown all caution to the wind. Okay, so, and I'll throw a small in here or there, I'll throw a small in here or there, because, what the heck, I mean, look at it. This is so cute, so cute. Okay, I think that is it. Yeah, I think that is it. Well, thank you for hanging in there, and I hope that I haven't overwhelmed you with my chatter, but know that talking with you kind of clarifies for me. It's a clarity moment, and I so appreciate having this opportunity. So you all take care. I love you. Stay safe, and call your mother if she's still around.